Hello, everybody. Welcome to the November Greenwich Village Folk Festival, November 6, 2022. We have a great show for you tonight. Before we start, let me thank a couple people who've put in a lot of hard work. My co-producer, Raymond Misek. I'm Rod MacDonald. We are the co-producers of tonight's event. I'll be co-emceeing along with Ron Olesko. Hey, Ron, how you doing over there? You okay? He's there, I think. I'm sure. Also like to thank our lead techs, Brandon O'Sullivan and Greg Greenway, for their stellar work getting everybody set up on time. And Andrea and Jerry are webmasters. Tonight's concert is a tribute concert to the late singer-songwriter Jack Hardy, who was born November 23rd, 1947, and passed away March 11, 2011. Jack was a important figure in the second wave, you might say, of Greenwich Village folk artists, a very inspiring person in many ways, who was not only a very, very fine songwriter, but also a organizational visionary who created the Songwriters Exchange that's still going on Monday nights today in New York City, and the Fast Folk musical magazine that put out CDs, LPs and CDs for about 20 years, including some of the first recordings of people like Lyle Lovett, Tracy Chapman, Sean Colvin, Suzanne Vega, and quite a few other artists. Jack was a fierce adversary in an argument and a truly devoted advocate for songwriters everywhere, and many of us and most of the people in tonight's concert would, I'm sure, acknowledge a debt to Jack in many ways. I remember going to one of the Songwriters Exchange meetings and playing a new song and having everyone stare at their shoes and afraid to comment on it. Jack said, "No one's going to say anything? Well, I will. It's boring." And of course, he was absolutely right and did me a favor. And so we're going to pay tribute to Jack in honor of his 75th birthday tonight. And to start off, I'd like to introduce somebody who is one of my very oldest friends in the musical community, somebody that has played many, many shows with me down here in Florida each spring when he comes down and spends the month of March here during the Irish music season. But in particular, he was also Jack's college roommate and shared a rock and roll band with Jack for, I believe, about 5 years. Today, he is one of the foremost traditional musicians in New England, a stellar mandolin player, and somewhat a highly respected authority, I believe, on the fiddle tunes of Quebec and old-time music here in the United States. So without further ado, would you please give a Greenwich Village Folk Festival welcome to Mr. Bill Walach.
Well, thank you, Rod. That was a stellar introduction. I don't deserve any of it, but I will say, in regard to Jack, we spent a lot of time in those seminal years between like 18 and maybe 24 together, playing in various bands, doing various excursions out to LA and this and that. We were on the original All-American College show, which was sort of the black and white television version of America's Finest Voice, or whatever they call that thing. And we actually got into the finals. We were beaten by Natalie Cole, so that wasn't too shabby. At any rate, moving right along, I was on his first couple of albums. I played bass for him and pedal steel and mandolin. I'm going to do a song of his that caught my attention as soon as I heard it. It deals somewhat with, with a lot of things, but what really attracted me is all of my grandparents emigrated to the United States and ended up in the textile industry. So there's that connection, as well as I like the little bits of history that Jack put in it. But anyways, it's the Uley Mill song. left Ireland long ago to work the mills in the Cotswolds, so Nelson's tars and Wellington's guards could fight the tyrant Bonaparte. Every day I walk to work, past the pub and the Norman church. I saw the light up in your room, and through the day I thought of you. For 14 hours we worked in gloom. The water powered the broadcloth loom. We dyed our wool a deep wad blue, but deeper still the eyes of you. On market day you caught my eye, and for a moment even smiled. And for that moment I scrimped and saved, dreamed that we might fly away. Now it's all for coal and steel. The millworks moved up to the north. They cut our wages to the bone, and with my brogue I was the first let go. I walked down the Owlpath Road, past manor houses locked and sold. I stopped at the Crown for one last pint. I had not the heart to say goodbye. I left Ireland long ago to work the mill of Cotswolds, so Nelson's tars and Wellington's guards could fight the tyrant Bonaparte. That's the Uley Mill song. Thank you. The next thing I'm going to do is a little bit out of a different genre, but it's a song that I first heard in 1964 when it came out on an album by the great folk musician Cannonball Adderley. This song was played by Nat Adderley, and it was written by Sam Jones. The name of the song is Lily, and it's kind of a sort of like a blues ballad, and it's just one of the prettiest melodies. I've always been very fond of this. So here it is, Lily. I'm probably a little short on the amount of time I'm taking, but other people can use it, so give it to them. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bill. That was so nice. Wonderful way to start our show. And I'd love to hear some of those early recordings if you have them that you and Jack did. Well, it's so nice to be here tonight. I'm Ron Olesko, and I'm so honored to be part of this wonderful Greenwich Village Folk Festival again, especially in tribute to somebody like Jack. I mean, I can remember the early days when I started doing radio. Jack would come over to the radio station and just treat us to so many wonderful songs, not only his own, but also the music of others. And I really don't think we can understate the influence that Jack has had on a generation of songwriters. And whether it was over bowls of pasta on Monday nights in his small apartment on Houston Street that was open to both novice songwriters and established artists, or through his work with Fast Folk Musical Magazine, Jack was a promoter, a mentor, and an inspiration to so many. And it's only natural that his own children gained some insight and guidance as well. Our next artist is the daughter of Jack Hardy and Angela Page. And with parents like that, well, there will always be great expectations, but fear not. With a couple of her siblings thrown into the mix, Miranda Hardy has produced one of the finest albums that I've heard so far this year. It's called Reverie. Now, Miranda spent some years traveling and touring alongside Jack, from New York City clubs to some small pubs in Ireland, and you can hear her singing harmony and playing fiddle throughout Jack's final album, Rye Grass. Well, like Jack, she uses metaphoric lyrics, subtle humor, and some sparse production to showcase her songs in this brilliant debut album. We're so happy to have her with us tonight. Please welcome Miranda Hardy.
Thanks so much, Ron. I think this might be the closest I get to NPR's Tiny Desk concert, so I'm very excited to be here. And it just means so much to me and my whole family how much this whole group has kept my father's memory and legacy alive. So thank you to everyone watching and performing. When I think about my dad and his performances, there is one song that comes to mind. Not only was it one of my favorites, but my dad and I had this silly joke about it where when he would sing it, he would purposely delay saying the word track in railroad tracks in the lyrics. And I thought it was the funniest thing. I was probably the only one who found this funny, and yet he still did the bit during his gigs. And I think about his dedication to bad jokes a lot. So I figured it only made sense if I covered that song for you guys today. So this is called The Zephyr by Jack Hardy. Some people have such neat houses, all their flowers in a row. No surprises in their closets, nothing the neighbors do not know. And that's why God made railroad ties, to keep the flowers in their place. And that's why God made railroad watches, to keep the rats in the race. Now take it slow, take it easy, take it any way you can. Take it all, take it freely, take it like a man. Take it down the lonesome highway, down the lonesome railroad track. Take it any way you want to, but never take it back. Some people lead such neat lives, no screaming in the halls, no prescriptions in their pockets, no crutch called alcohol. And that's why God made the corporate ladder, to make the others feel so small. And that's why God made Jacob's ladder, so we can all climb the walls. Now take it slow, take it easy, take it any way you can. Take it all, take it freely, take it like a man. Take it down the lonesome highway, down the lonesome railroad. Try, take it any way you want to, but never take it back. Some people pay such neat dues to the devil or their boss. At the crossroads, at the station, or at the station of the cross. And that's why God made the Burlington Northern, Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe. And that's why God made railroad whistles, so we can blow it all the way. Now take it slow, take it easy, take it any way you can. Take it all, take it freely, take it like a man. Take it down the lonesome highway, down the lonesome railroad. Take it any way you want to, but never take it track. Told you it was only funny to me. Thank you. My father has been an undeniable influence on my own songwriting. And to prove that to you all, the next song I'm going to play was somewhat inspired by the Zephyr, except this time the railroad tracks are in the New York City subway, and the such nice houses. It's an unrenovated one-bedroom apartment on Houston Street with cracks in the floors and a bathtub in the kitchen. And if that sounds familiar, it's probably because we've been talking about it. It's my father's old apartment that held the songwriters meetings. But after it was my father's, it was my apartment, and then my sister's, and then my brother's. And with all these changing tenants, it's funny because so many things haven't changed at all. For example, our neighbor Roxy, who still always sits in the hallway stairwell smoking her cigarettes. And when I think about Roxy, to me, she represents this constant in an ever-changing New York City. And I believe it's these constants that thread us all together and keep us connected during hard times of change. So without further ado, I will shut up and sing the song, so to speak. This is called Roxy off my new album. The cracks in the floor keep letting her in. Beers in the bathtub, but the ice is getting thin. Says she misses New York, but doesn't make the effort. He keeps the wine uncorked, trying to forget her. Now Roxy's smoking cigarettes in the hallway stairs, hearing folk music cassettes, answering her prayers. Take it slow, ride it out, stick with the local line, headed all the way downtown, back to number 9, sing a sad, slow song, dancing in the village where the one comes along every other minute. It's just a gray dog chasing that bad cat. Rip up your bass up, throw that pickle chop back, strike up the band, deal out a deck of cards. He'll show his hands missing the jack of hearts, but Roxy's smoking cigarettes in the hallway, hearing folk music music cassettes, answer and her heartbreak. Take it slow, ride it out. Stick with the local line, headed all the way downtown. Back to number 9, sing a sad, slow song. Dancing in the village, where the one comes along every other minute. Been a few months since she's opened the store, but checking in, things are just as before. He's trading his chores for pints in the pub, wishes on a penny with dishes in the bathtub, and Roxy smoking cigarettes in the stairwell, hearing folk music cassettes singing our farewell. Take it slow, ride it out. Stick with the local line, headed all the way downtown. Back to number 9, sing a sad, slow song. Dancing in the village, where the one comes along every other minute. Where the one comes along every other minute. Thank you.
Very nice, Miranda. Hey, Miranda, can I talk to you just a second here?
Yeah.
I can imagine that you must meet a lot of people who say, "Oh my gosh, you're Jack Hardy's daughter. Let me tell you about my experience with your father." Have you had a lot of those episodes?
Yeah, I love it. So I do get it, a lot in this community, and I love hearing stories. People never cease to amaze me how they always have a new story I haven't heard, but everything is so on brand for my dad that nothing surprises me. So,
How old were you when you began writing songs? Did you ever play any for your dad?
it's funny. I just started about 2 years ago, so I hate to be one of those people that was like, "Oh, the pandemic kicked me in the butt," but that, honestly, I was like home and just started songwriting. It kind of just poured out of me. So it's too bad that I never got to. I used to play silly joke songs for my dad all the time and make him laugh, but he never kind of got to hear the serious side of me. So.
Well, you probably were spared some of his more blistering critiques.
Yeah, exactly. But I hear him in my head, so I self-edit with him in my head. So, yeah.
Well, let me ask you one more thing before we let you go. Your new CD has gotten a wonderful response. I was in Woodstock this summer while you were recording it, although we didn't cross paths. But Mark played a little of it for me, Mark Dan, and spoke very highly of you. Thought that you were doing good work. Are you playing anywhere live, or people can come see you?
I'm working on that. I will keep you all updated on my website, mirandahardymusic.com. So hopefully more to come. But I was really excited for this show, and I'm actually already working on my next album. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but yeah, hopefully soon. So stay tuned.
Well, great. Keep up the good work, and thanks for being with us today. It's really nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Our next performer is also somebody who's made her first CD recently, but considers it kind of like the second phase of her adult life. Perhaps I don't have the information of what you were doing before all that, but maybe you can tell us. But just to give you an idea what our next performer has been doing lately, she was a finalist in the United Kingdom Songwriter Contest and in the International Blues and Roots Radio Contest, and received honorable mention in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, and is currently, in addition to whatever bookings I'm sure you have, is hosting the Folk Project monthly open stage. I believe that's the New Jersey Folk Project, right, in New Jersey. And but the big news is that she's just released her debut CD, and it's called While I'm Here. So let's give her a chance to tell us about it. Would you please welcome Tina Ross?
Hi, it's so great to see you. Thanks for having me. I'm probably one of the newer editions of Jack Hardy's songwriting exchange. So I feel like across the time and across the, you know, the across time, I have learned so much from him, even though I've never met him. So I'm very, very pleased to be here. I have a debut album. It's called While I'm Here. I was a chiropractor before, just to answer your question. And so I, about 3 years ago, started this new phase of my life. And the song exchange, the songwriters exchange, has been absolutely essential for me. So I really appreciate Jack Hardy, the people he has mentored and touched, because they've touched me tremendously. So I'm going to do two songs. The first song I'm going to do is Victim of the Dawn, which is from the 70s that Jack wrote. And it's as relevant now as it was then. Things change slowly, but he tells the story so well, which he does. This is Victim of the Dawn. It's a bitter fruit to swallow for a child who loves her sweets. And it's a hard crime to follow down the dark and dirty streets. They'd say that she was teasing. That's how she was in the wrong. They say that crime has no reason. She's just a victim of the dawn. In the shadows of the gallows, where those smirking lawyers shine, and the lies and innuendos keep that man from doing time. And the money tips the balance where justice once belonged. And the verdict of that jury is just the victim of the dawn. Now the shattered life she's leading is just written off as fate. And every heart that's bleeding is just a mirror of her hate. And we can all feel bad together, preaching that 20-second song. dawn. Now all our hopes for changing are just going down the drain. They're burning books in West Virginia and saying prayers in Notre Dame. Perhaps the priests who die in brothels are the saviors of us all, or their hastily dressed up bodies, just the victims. Victim of the dawn. Yeah. So yeah, that song really resonates with me when, you know, women are blamed and not believed, and it's you know, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So in that vein, I thought I'd do an original song, and it's about a woman. Her name is Artemisia Gentileschi. She was a 17th century Italian artist, and being a woman in the 17th century is hard enough. It was hard enough, but she also rose to become known as a progressive artist in her time, which is very difficult for a woman. Was difficult for a woman. But the thing that ties her story to this one, to Jack's story, was that she was raped, and but she actually had a trial at that time, and she actually won her case. Now they tortured her, actually, which was awful. They tortured her. They did not torture the man when he testified, but they tortured her to make sure that she told the truth. They didn't believe her. But she is an inspiration to me. I actually have the transcript of the trial, and I'm writing a second song about her. Her name is Artemisia, and this is just a part of her story. My dress shimmers green, an emerald drape, its edges scratched from grainy lace. My eyebrows, curious and arched, my patience worn, my patience parched. I mix my pigments, crush them with stone, truth ground into savage tones. I choose to draw a bloody knife, highlighting dark is always mixed with light. Damn this 17th century, I face a faceless enemy trying to steal what's real from me. I am Artemisia. Vindicated, I left my father's home, wrapped up my brushes, will and shadows with brazen strokes. My heroines are freed, I paint their prowess, wounds and stories. pity. I will prove an artist's mastery. I am Artemisia. I am Artemisia. I hear the call of this stretched linen. It cannot speak, but I listen. I will this dry dye and oil to be defiant. We will not be silent. And I'll beat this 17th century. I carry letters from kings and queens. Patrons see my creativity, painting as a woman's allegory. I am Artemisia. I am Artemisia. Oh,
Powerful stuff, Tina. Thank you so much. It's a good reminder that this is election week. If you haven't already voted, we officially and unofficially urge you to be sure to do so during this week and take it seriously. And try to find your way through all the noise and fake news and all of the things that are allegedly important and figure out what's real to you. The Greenwich Village Folk Festival, I'd like to mention, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We exist largely due thanks to the donations from people like yourselves that are watching this show. This is a free concert. Nobody's required to pay anything, but if you have a donation you can spare, I can assure you that the vast majority of it will go to these performers directly, who can all use it, I'm sure, and we ask that you consider us worth supporting in the midst of all of the other people asking for money in your life, I'm sure. Our next performer is somewhat indicative of one of the things that keeps coming up about Jack Hardy, which is that he had a propensity to start things going, to get the ball rolling on many things that actually still exist. Not only the Songwriters Exchange, but the Fast Folk magazine doesn't put out any new editions, but all the old ones are on the Smithsonian Folkways website of the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. And it's an amazing collection of songs, many of which were never otherwise recorded, even by the best and most well-known artists that recorded for it. One of the other activities that Jack was instrumental in starting, I don't think he personally started it, but he certainly was there at the beginning, because so was I, and I remember doing this, was the folk singers softball team in Greenwich Village. One of the more colorful and fun things that I did during my time in the village, and Jack pitched for our team for a couple of years. And in the process, and I want to say it's still going, it's no longer called that, but it is the now sponsored by the Kettle of Fish, the bar that took over Folk City's spot in on West 3rd Street in the village. Still sponsors the team. I believe that a handful of musicians have played on it fairly recently and may still do so, and they won the New York Show Business League championship not so many years ago, which stunned me because we were certainly among the least athletic of the teams in the league. Nonetheless, I think it's kind of cool that it got off the ground and still exists. And one of the other people who was there at the beginning of this, is with us here tonight. His name's Hugh O'D, and Hugh dragged us all out to Governor's Island to play a team from the Coast Guard. Hugh was a helicopter pilot, if I'm not mistaken, did emergency rescue services. I remember asking him once during those years what he had been doing lately, and I think he told me that he had flown out in the middle of the night over the ocean to rescue somebody from a sinking ship from a helicopter. And I thought, well, you know, that's a pretty useful job, pretty important work. In the process of a career doing that for many years, he's also continued writing songs, lives in Cape Cod nowadays, and has appeared all around New England in many of the finest music clubs around, and has written some really fine songs. Tonight, he's going to play one of Jack's songs for us, and we kind of had the opportunity to involve Hugh at the last minute. It took me a few days to reach him, but we're very glad he's with us tonight. So would you please welcome Mr. Hugh O'D.
Thank you, Rod. This song, Jack told us he wrote this song when he was 16 years old. And I first heard it when I was 26 years old. It's called You Don't Have to Sing for Me. You don't have to sing to me the song of your eyes, with words entwined in memories so lost in lies. For the words are now forgotten, like pages never turn, and I will not be singing a song I never learned. It's an old-fashioned melody that's seen better days, but one that I'd be singing if I had changed my ways. Oh, but I am not for changing a song that's part of me, and I will not be singing a song that's changing me. It takes a mind for listening to understand, but mine is far too hastened for changing plans. Ah, but someday, if you want me, I might be passing through, and I might well be singing a song I wrote for you. Ah, but someday, if you want me, I might be passing through, and I might well be singing a song I wrote for you. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much, Hugh. That was really lovely. So good to see you again, and so good to see so many old friends here tonight. Some familiar faces too. I'm sure a lot of us who are watching. I was cleaning my room this den this week, and I came across this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's an old matchbook cover from Speakeasy. What does it say? Folk Music Nightly. Oh, remember those days. It's also a reminder I should clean out this office a little bit more frequently. Anyway, our next performer was born and raised in New York City, where he was influenced by a wealth of extraordinary songwriters that made up the city's music scene. And he soon found himself part of Jack's songwriter collective. His well-crafted songs have earned him acclaim across the nation. In 2013, he won the prestigious New Folk Songwriters Contest at the Kerrville Folk Festival in Texas. And this year, he released his latest independent album. It's called Flash Tattoo. and it's receiving strong airplay and some great reviews. So good to have him with us tonight. Please welcome Paul Sachs.
Thank you, Ron. Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me, everybody. I'm going to start out with one of my favorite songs by Jack Hardy. This is called Ryegrass. I would not take that road at night, even if it just might save you time. No need to put trouble on your mind. Where the ryegrass lies bent and broke, you have no idea of what has been. Where ryegrass used to wave in the wind, trampled by hooves and hooded men. Where the ryegrass lies bent and broke, you might think this long ago, somewhere down south far below, some people are just plain slow to open their eyes. You could just take that road to the right and be back home in bed tonight. To church in the morning, hallelujah, where the ryegrass is singing too. I saw the length of rope pulled tight, I saw the preacher close his eyes, I saw the sheriff try not to smile, where the ryegrass lies bent and broke. You might think this long ago, somewhere down south far below, some people are just plain slow to believe. No one reported what transpired. These were all people who were admired. That side of the wall where the grass grows higher, where the ryegrass lies bent and broke, hardly a trace left of it now. That tree by lightning struck down, that field they have filled with cows, where the ryegrass lies bent and broke, where the ryegrass lies bent and broke. What made one of the aspect of Jack's songwriting that I loved was his ability to write funny songs as well as serious songs. So I'm gonna play a funny one and a wee bit racy. This is called Everything's Bigger in Texas. Forked tail sitting in a live oak tree. I came all the way to Texas, it won't sing for me. Just sits there scolding in for me. Too much Corona, you get Lyme disease. Everything's bigger in Texas. It's known the whole world over. Everything's bigger in Texas, including this dang hangover. The biggest damn storm swept me off my feet, or was it the senoritas? The biggest blue moon, the biggest bazooms. Did I mention the blue margaritas? Everything's bigger in Texas. It's known the whole world over. Everything's bigger in Texas, including this dang hangover. What's that star to the left of the moon I see? Did I mention I was pleased to meet you? It's God's own cocktail barbecue. Did I mention the blue margaritas? Everything's bigger in Texas. It's known the whole world over. Everything's bigger in Texas, including this dang hangover. The big, oh, I did that one already. What's that star? Oh yeah. There used to be a bridge to the song. It got washed away in the deluge. 2 by 2, just me and you, just seeking for some refuge. But Texas songs go on too long till the tears well up in a flood. It drinks that strong up till dawn, and dust turns into mud. It never fails that things get stale, and the soft get hard, and the hard get soft. Heads or tails, it's the end of the trail, and the true stay blue, and the lost stay lost. Everything's bigger in Texas. It's known the whole world over. Everything's bigger in Texas, including this dang hangover, including this well hungover. Did I mention the blue margaritas? Ooh, flying by the seat of my pants on that.
Thank you, Paul.
In the Kerrville folk festival. There. Should I do one of my own? Do I have time for one more?
Yes.
Right now. So I tried to think of a song that, a recent song that Jack would have liked, and I think he would have enjoyed this one. This is called No Place Special. All right. me an empty diner with a no-name town. Give me a dirt road with nobody around. I don't need the 7 wonders to feed my soul. No place special's where I long to go. Give me an old gas station on a lost highway. Tumbleweeds rolling by every day. Busted gas pumps from an age that's gone. No place special is where I belong. There's an abandoned car sitting in a field, the color of rust, a shattered windshield. Nothing in the distance for miles around. And no place special is where I'm bound. Is where I'm bound. Give me a black locomotive cutting through the wind. Coal in the fire, a steam engine. Riding the rails, I would ride the blinds into no place special to another time. I'm over coats and cigarettes. Yeah, no place special is as good as it gets. I feel these things inside of me. No place special's where I long to be. I long to be.
Very nice, Paul. Really good. Paul, I believe you traveled back and forth to Kerrville with Jack a couple times. Am I right about that?
Yes, and I owe him. I have a lot of gratitude for that expedition. It was a very funny night. He was at the Songwriters Exchange. He said, "Does anybody want to go to Texas? Anybody?" It was like me and 2 other guys who definitely weren't going. And I thought, you know what? I don't get out of Manhattan at all that much. I said, I'll go. And he said, "Can you drive stick shift?" I said, "No." And he goes, "All right, well, we'll go anyway." And it was a great adventure, and it changed my life. Fantastic.
That's great. That's a great story. Were you? I remember we all did the 10th. I think it was the 50th anniversary of Folk City concert together in 2010, and Jack left at like 1 o'clock in the morning to head to Kerrville. Were you in that trip with him?
I was.
I think that was the last time I saw Jack. That was quite a night. Yeah, really wonderful. It's great to have you with us, Paul. I hope we can have you back in the festival again sometime.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to have another special guest appearance by somebody kind of unannounced, and but I want to give you a little bit of biography on this gentleman, Mr. Hugh Blumenfeld, who's a longtime speakeasy Greenwich Village friend of ours. In his bio, Hugh writes that he got involved with the Greenwich Village songwriter scene in 1982, shortly after moving to New York City to study poetics at NYU. Jack invited him to record a song of his called The Strong in Spirit for the first anniversary of the Co-op. That's what it was called before it was called Fast Folk, in February of '83. And then he did his first New York gig opening for Jack on a Sunday night that same month. So there's some real history here. He went on to record a dozen songs for Fast Folk and 6 albums on Prime CD, Waterbug, and the Swiss Brambus label. Hugh today lives in Connecticut, where he is both if I'm not mistaken, admitted to the Bar Association as a lawyer, having graduated law school, and a licensed full-scale medical doctor, having graduated medical school. And pretty amazing accomplishment and continuing to write songs and play songs through the years. He says he also faithfully attended the Songwriters Exchange for years, mostly for the pasta. And I can tell you for personal experience that after moving to Connecticut, Hugh had the effrontery to put a pink plastic flamingo on his front lawn and shock all his neighbors. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Hugh Blumenfeld.
Thanks, Rod. Actually, it was my wife that has the JD. I am just a humble family physician now. Although I did teach poetry for a while, until I couldn't find a job anymore. And yeah, I used to go to the Songwriters Exchange. Even when I moved up Connecticut, I used to drive down 2.5 hours, 3 hours to get to the city some nights. And the best feedback that Jack at the Songwriters Exchanges, all of you have been there. It was pretty classic not to really give feedback. You would just the best thing that you could say to somebody was, can I see your lyrics? And that was about it. But Jack did give me feedback once. He after I finished playing a song, he just looked at me with a little raised eyebrow and said, "Why?" That was it. So I changed the entire song based on that one word. Anyway, this is one of my favorite, not only my favorite Jack Hardy song, but one of my favorite songs ever. I think I tried to learn how to play it as soon as I heard it. So this is a Dublin Farewell. Can you hear me? Is this okay? I carried your memory on a chain around my neck as I walked the streets of Dublin all alone. And everywhere the people asked me, what was it that you fled? What was it brought you here so far from home? And all that I could tell myself was little bits of lies, and try to build myself into a man. Nothing like love to cut you down to size. Show what you can do and what you can't. I met a girl with green eyes, teased me for a while, showed me just how desperate I am. But when all I see are blue skies for so many miles, how can one cloud bring so much rain? I'm clutching to a memory that has no right to live, has no right to call itself by name. Still I want to share my dreams, I've got nothing left to give. But love knows no alibis or shame. With my hands in my pockets and my collar inside out, I walked through County Kerry in the rain, watching the fishing boats fight an angry sea. A tiny dot of hope is so much pain. There is a phantom lighthouse, draws the sailors to their deaths. Whatever life gives, it also Still they feel the need to sail the sea. They're just fools like me. I guess we never learn from our mistakes. I carried your memory like a chain around my neck as I walked the streets of Dublin all alone.
Thank you so much, Hugh. Oh, it's always a treat to hear you.
That was okay.
Hope we have you back again real soon.
Well, thanks for inviting me tonight. This was great to be part of this.
Thanks. Well, this is a wonderful evening in tribute to Jack, and I just want to take a quick moment thanking everyone who has already donated to our tip jar. Now, again, this is a free concert, but those of you who are able to, if you can put something into our tip jar, you can see the information in the chat column in Facebook and YouTube, and it really helps to keep this going every month, and also goes to support the performers and to keep this organization going. The Greenwich Village Folk Festival is a 501c3. You can find out more information at greenwichvillagefolkfestival.org. Well, our next performer might be well known from her work as one of the founding members of the group Red Molly. And her latest album, Dobro Singer, is a true solo effort. She recorded it with just her laptop steel resonator guitar and her voice. I've been able to call Abby a friend since the days prior to Red Molly when I first heard her performing her songs at a music conference. She is an award-winning songwriter and a performer, and it's always a pleasure to be able to say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abby Gardner.
Hey, it's Abby Gardner coming to you all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in a little tiny hotel room here getting ready to teach a Dobro camp, and I'm working on some songwriting too. So this is a great time actually for me to join in on this Jack Hardy tribute night. I love Jack with all my heart. He was good to me and hard on me sometimes with my songs, but it was all in a good way. So I really miss him. And I'm gonna do his song called Prisoner that I've just always loved. There's a valley filled with poppies. There's a mountain etched in blue. There's a memory that hollers where it echoes, I love you. Does not look like this island that is walled in by the sea, with the only sound warden who is yelling at me. Little bird that I see flying, do you know how far I've flown? And do you know how low the valley will I have sunk below? And the warden takes the prisoners one by one to this room where their every hope is broken. except that death will claim them soon. And there's no one to ask questions, and there's no one to reply, to ask why I was taken on the 4th day of July. Little bird that I see flying, can you even hear me cry through the walls of this prison where I will surely die? And the crescent moon is shining, marking time as passing by. And it's 7 years and counting since I bid you all goodbye. In my dreams, I'm dreaming of you. In my dreams, I can fly, and I love you, and the valley replied. Well, that was The Prisoner by Jack Hardy. I love that song. There's so much metaphor in there, so much just heart, and I just love it. So I'm going to do a song I never got to play for Jack. This one is one I wrote with Will Kimbrough, just a couple miles from where I am right now in Nashville. Will's a great songwriter. He backs up Emmylou Harris in his all his spare time, but he had time to sit down with me and write this song. I made up this little riff that goes. It's real fun to play on dobro, but I had no idea how to make it into a song, so I went over to his house, and it was our first time writing together. We sat down, we started talking about the foods we like to eat, and he was asking where I came from, and I come from New York, and I always loved how diverse my neighborhood was. So between him heating up his rice and beans for lunch and my background, we came up with this song called Born in the City. Again, my name's Abby Gardner, and thank you so much for having me as a part of this. It's been really cool. Here's Born in the City. Come on in, sit down at my table. Ain't nobody that I would not feed. Bring your favorite dish if you're able. I don't care if you look like me. Hope you don't mind if I don't speak your language. Have another plate of my rice and beans. All my friends are here at the banquet. Everybody knows what hungry means when you're born in the city. Born in the city, oh, just like me. Ah.
Thank you, Abby Gardner. I'd like to thank Abby for getting that to us in the midst of what's a very busy week for her teaching in Nashville and undoubtedly co-writing too. Our next performer is, well, before we get to that, just let me mention once again, we appreciate you folks' donations. If you are looking for a place to donate to this concert, I believe on Facebook there is the paypal.me/GVFF2020 link. There's also a longer link that doesn't take any fees. There is information on the GreenwichVillageFolkFestival.org website and on YouTube. So if you can spare anything for us to pass along to these performers, we very much appreciate it. Now, our next performer is widely, maybe seen by more people than anybody is aware of. He is really widely known as one of the foremost accompanists on the acoustic and roots music scene of today. He is a member annually of the house band at Falcon Ridge and plays with dozens of artists. One of the highlights of my summer was absolutely having him sit in with me on accordion at Falcon Ridge this past summer. Beautiful accompaniment to what I was doing. In addition to the work that he's done touring, I believe you can see him this month, in fact, touring, accompanying Ellis Paul, if I'm not mistaken, on tour. But in addition to that, he's also done quite a bit of his own work and received a lot of individual recognition. One of many examples of this would be that in 2021, he was inducted into the Iowa Blues Hall of Fame. He's got a new CD out called The Po, The Mississippi, and we are thrilled to have him join us tonight. One of the fun guys and most excellent musicians in the folk acoustic world of today. Please welcome Radoslav Lorkovic.
Hey. All right. Jack Hardy, it was 92. You were there. I remember we went, I was in Sesto Calende, and I was just about to radically change my life. I fell into a 3-week tour, and we wound up, I had no expectation of it. I thought I was sitting in for one show. I wound up playing like 27 shows with my friend Dave Moore. But the thing was, every single promoter had his record room. In his record room, the first thing, he always invited me, he said, Rado, please come to my record room. And then huge, it'd be a cavernous room with thousands of records. Every single promoter had the same room. Each one of them pulled out a record. You know Jack Hardy? I go, no. And they'd put it on, very beautiful. And they'd put the Jack Hardy record on. This happened seriously about 15, 16 times. Jack was just crushing it over there in Italy, and it was my introduction to him. Well, sure enough, fast forward, and I wind up, I'm headed to Woody Fest, the famous Woody Guthrie Festival in Okima. And I go into the Days Inn, or the celebrated Days Inn in Okima. Who is my roommate? Jack Hardy. I finally meet him. We became amazing friends. Did a lot of jamming together, and one of the things Jack always said was, he has an accordion, and he knows how to use it. Here we go. Come all ye lads and lasses near, the story I will tell to you about a cold, damp night like this, when shelter I was seeking, a traveler passing through. Well, the barkeep said to guard my coin, to stay away from this stinker. Well, that just brought me near to him, for not had I worth taking, a traveler passing through. Well, he bought me a glass of darkened stout to thank me for my company, And then he dropped a penny in the glass for the luck that it would bring me, a traveler passing through. Well, the poor have but their pennies left, the king his Saxon shilling, and the king would never part with his, though I part with mine most willing, to a traveler passing through. Well, this coin's been haunted by the sheep. It shall bring you joy, it shall bring you grief, depending on the works you do. What once was mine now belongs to you, a traveler passing through. Well, we passed the night most forcefully. I sang my songs and his to me, and we talked of life's brief song to sing, of visions we'd forsaken as travelers passing through. And the barkeep said it's time with scorn. Your man here will be your undoing. They will lock you up as sure as you're born, if they hear the songs you're singing, a traveler passing. Well, they can lock me up as best they can, yet songs can never know those chains. The song is sacred as the wind. We are just the harp that's singing, a traveler passing through. And later in a Highland pub, with friends around me singing, I chanced to glance into my glass at another penny shining, a traveler passing through. This coin's been haunted by the sheep. It shall bring you joy, it shall bring you grief, depending on the works you do. What once was mine now belongs to you, a traveler passing through. Thank you, Rod, for this, for the wonderful invitation. I'm there right now, man. I'm there on stage with you, looking at that beautiful setting there, the new one in Connecticut. We had so much fun. Hopefully, do a lot more of that. This is a kind of it's an instrumental I'm going to play. I always had a little bit of a I was born into a Central European classical music family. So when I discovered a blues scale as a teenager, I was met with shock, scorn, disappointment, all those things. And this is kind of my attempt to sort of patch up. I'm trying to bring both those worlds together. And this is a piece. It's a piece called The Blues in C minor. All right. Well, here's another one. This is a directional song. Brown, shiny Lincoln at a four-way stop. Driving my car, carrying all that I got my foot to the floor, got my windows rolled down. I ain't gonna stop till I hit Memphis town. Heading south on a two-lane road, heading south Think I'm losing control, I'm heading south. Before I get old, I'm heading south. I never go home, heading south. Baby, you and me, I'm heading south. Like a river to the sea, I'm heading south. Can't turn around, no, till I hit Memphis town. Well, I'm tired of cold weather, I'm tired of cold stares, tired of monotone voices with nothing to say. I'm tired of motion, I'm tired of fast pace, I'm tired of jerking around without rhythm or grace. Heading south on a two-lane road, I'm heading south. Think I'm losing control, I'm heading south. Before I get old, I'm heading south. I just might never go home, heading south. Baby, you and me, I'm heading south. Like a river to the sea, I'm heading south. I can't turn around, no, till I hit Memphis town. I've been to Italy, I traveled 3 continents with regularity everywhere that I go, everyone that I meet. Could be doctors or lawyers or people on the street. I hear in their voice unmistakable sound. Call me back time after time, heading south. On a 2-lane road, I'm heading south. Think I'm losing control, I'm heading south. Before I get old, I'm heading south. I just might never go home, heading south. Baby, you and me, I'm heading south. Like a river to the sea, I'm heading south. I can't turn around, no, till I hit Memphis. Oh, let's head on down, everybody. Let's pack up them computers. Let's get in an old 63 Chevy van or something like that. Start in St. Paul, Highway 61, all the way down to Winona, La Crosse, Prairie du Chien, Dubuque, Bellevue, Savannah, Sebula, Rock Island, Davenport, Moline, Muscatine, Burlington, Keokuk, Quincy and Hannibal, St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, Cairo. Look out. Cairo. All the way down to Memphis, heading south.
Oh. Oh, amazing. Radislav Lorkovic. I tell you, I've seen you so many times accompanying others. This is really the first time I've had the pleasure of seeing you solo like this. And oh boy, we got to have you back. We need more of that. So
I'm
it was just
in,
terrific.
man. I'm in. I love this. This is, man. I've been hearing about you guys for 45 years, finally getting in there.
Well, it's about time you're here. So don't be a stranger. We'll see you again soon. Radislav Lorkovic. Wow, what a night this has been, and there's more great music coming up, and I am so honored to be able to introduce this next guest. You know, when I think about the 70s and 80s folk scene in New York City and Greenwich Village, there are several names that I consider who were beacons of that community, and of course, Jack Hardy was one of them, but Terry Roach is another. Now, I fell in love with Terry's voice when I first heard her and her sister Maggie singing harmony on a Paul Simon album. And then in my senior year in high school, Terry and Maggie released an album called Seductive Reasoning. Well, a few years later, their sister Suzy joined them, and they became the Roaches. Now, their influence on the music scene really should not be understated. And Terry's guitar work has inspired so many, especially so many women as well. And she now spends a lot of her time teaching her skills to others. And she recently released a full-length digital album and a book. I don't know if you can see this here. It's called, the album itself actually features live recordings that Terry and Maggie did doing arrangements of songs. And the book, Can You See That Sun, features a number of, well, lyrics and drawings that Terry did and reminiscences by her friends. It is just a delight. And I was honored to have her as a guest on my radio show a few weeks ago to talk about it. What more can you say? We are so honored to have her with us tonight. Please welcome the one, the only, Terry Roach.
Wow. Thanks, Ron. Twice in 1 week, right?
That's right.
We're stalking each other. So, I think there's a story that everybody or some of you might know this story, but Maggie and I were playing in Pittsburgh. This is how I first met Jack Hardy. Maggie and I had this gig on the college coffee house circuit in Pittsburgh. And we noticed on our contract that there was another person going to be on the bill with us named Jack Hardy. So we spent a week playing at the student union at the college in Pittsburgh. And at the end of the week, we said to Jack, well, you have to come to New York. There's a whole scene that's starting up around this club, Folk City. And so that was, and then a couple weeks later, we were back in New York, and Jack showed up. And we brought him over to Folk City, introduced him to Mike Porco, and the rest is history. And this is a song I've always wanted to learn of Jack's. And I still want to learn this song. It takes me a long time to memorize things, and I've been singing this song for a couple weeks now, but haven't memorized it, so I'm going to read it. And the lady turned away. I could not follow after, nothing more to say, nothing more to ask her. Frozen in a play between the sorrow and the laughter, all answers on display of your happy ever after. And the lady turned away. I took the morning with her. If she'd have come to stay, she'd have found her heart, I am sure. That meager distance cost me more than I could spend. 1,000 broken promises I could never mend. And I know who you were, I know where you've been, I know who you loved and who you left and when. I know you've been hurt, and the story of each scar, when all I want to know is who you are, who you are now. And the lady turned away, hair matting in the tears. You said you think you love me, you think too much, my dear. Can't will it into being, or will point of wonder. It's the present, God damn it. It's not the morning after. It's a long way to fly, just to fly away. I won't let you turn this moment into another yesterday. And I know who you were, and I know where you've been. I know who you loved and who you left and when. I know how you've been hurt, the story of each scar. But all I want to know is who you are, who you are now. So I thought this would be a good one to do next because this song is actually on my new book record. The book is the record, by the way. The songs are in the book. And this is the first song on the record. And I thought this would be a good one to do because this record that I released is all songs that my sister Maggie and I did when we were teenagers. And when we met Jack, he really liked this one. And I believe he put this on either one of his records or the Fast Folk record. But recently someone sent me his version of it. This is called Apostrophe to the Wind. Write the bars upon a daisy, sing the tune and tell him my name. He won't hear you, maybe, but see what you can do. See what you can do. As you strum through trees and they hum, maybe you could whisper my thoughts. He won't hear you, maybe, but see what you can do. See what you can do. Maybe you could give the moon and stars my love to shine it on him. He ain't gonna feel you, maybe, but see what you can do. See what you can do. you. I'd like to do a song kind of with a nod to the election coming up. This is one of my newer songs. It's called The Aftermath of Victory. Don't relax, the monster's coming back. Stay on your toes, don't listen to those voices in the street, rejoicing in the sweet aftermath of victory. Don't take the spoils of your hard work and your toils, nose to the grindstone. You are all alone, but forging on ahead when you might have wound up dead in the aftermath of victory. Outside my window, the city screams again. Inside, it's been so long since way back when that nobody was here, all hiding out in fear of the aftermath of victory. Why you angry honey bun? Someone lost, somebody won. Don't you love this feeling blasting through the ceiling? But there's no finish line. It's a relay race, and you hand off your fine to the next one in place, and you want to collapse when the carnival wraps in the aftermath of victory. Don't relax, the monster's coming back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. That was just stunning. And again, this wonderful book. I hope everybody out there can see it. Can you hear that sun? Can you see that sun? Excuse me. It's just a delightful book, and the music that you have with this. So glad that you were able to find these recordings. It kind of reminds me, Terry. Jack had a philosophy with his fast folk albums of really just, it was the song that was important, stripping it down to just the lyrics. And that's what comes across in all these records, the recordings that you found. It's you and your sister Maggie, just your voices and guitars. It's so refreshing to hear again. It must have been refreshing for you too, to hear these recordings one more time.
Yes, it really was. And I had been given them. Someone sent me these recordings in 2019.
Mhm.
I didn't have any recordings of us, just the two of us. And they were very nicely recorded, so it was really amazing to receive these. And then I decided that I needed to do a project with it, put the music out to get the music. At first I thought, well, I'll just put it all on YouTube and for free, but then I got into drawing the pictures and getting the photographs together. And it's been an amazing experience for me to go back 50 years, really, in some cases.
Yeah. It's amazing for us too to be able to hear these songs again, and this it's really a scrapbook. Again, everybody take a look at it. Can you see that sun? And I'm sure it's at your website, right? terryroach.com?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's really great to be a part of this. I'm really enjoying everybody's performance.
Well, thank you so much. It was great that you could be here tonight. You mean so much to all of us, and we hope you'll be back again soon. Well, this evening is just incredible. And again, just want to remind everybody that although this is a free concert, we do depend on donations from folks who are able to give a few bucks. We do have a tip jar, and you can take a look at if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. It's listed in the chat column feature, or just go to our website, which is greenwichvillagefolkfestival.org, and you'll find out how you can donate there. It's a 501c3 organization, and all the money that we raise, it goes to help all of these artists and to keep this going. This event started, the online event started back in 2020 at the start of the pandemic, and we're still going strong. We've got some great plans for the future, and I think Rod will be telling us about that a little bit later on. So stick around. This first Sunday every month. Those of you who are with us for the first time, we're glad you could be here, and we hope you'll be able to support us if you're able to. But if not, just sit back and enjoy the music. And our next performer, oh boy. You know, in addition to hosting my radio show on WFDU and also folkmusicnotebook.com, I'm also the president of the Hurdy-Gurdy Folk Music Club in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And one of my fondest memories is the evening that we booked a duo called the Folk Brothers, David Massengill and Jack Hardy. You know, I never imagined that it would be the last time I would have the opportunity to chat with Jack. And we're lucky. His partner in crime that night continues to carry on the traditions. David has always been one of the most creative artists to come out of the Greenwich Village music scene. And David, along with Mark Dan, also produced one additional fast folk album. It was a 26-track album called A Tribute to Jack Hardy, and that is still available on Smithsonian Folkways, as is the entire fast folk catalog. Now, the tribute album, it contained a magnificent 105-page book with extensive digital liner notes, photos, lyrics, tributes to Jack, and also his, I guess you call it infamous Songwriter's Manifesto, which really should be required reading for any singer-songwriter. Well, this tribute to Jack Hardy would not be complete without this next artist. He is a treasure, and he's been a part of the village folk scene for so many years. We're so honored that he could be with us again tonight. Please welcome David Massengill.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What a nice introduction. And I've enjoyed everybody that's been playing, doing Jack's songs and their own too. Gosh, it's awful nice. Think about Jack. He was interested in you. He would want to hear your song. You know, it's hard. You know, today I go around and say, hey, would you like to hear my new song? Or would you like to hear my new little record? No, everybody's, I don't know what happened. Why did everybody get so lazy? But that's the way it is. But Jack, he was absolutely focused on the movement and songwriting. And once he liked you, that was it. I had the pleasure of my first song. I'm going to do Jack's song called Tree of Rhyme, which is the first song I heard him do. He was played at the Hoot Night at Folk City. Everybody else was like, you know, not all that good, but Jack dropped in and he was a professional. I thought he was as good as Bob Dylan. I went, whoa. He had his brother Jeff was playing with him, and he looked like Hopalong Cassidy. He's got like he's had this big mustache, and he was, you know, kind of rangy looking and looked like right out of the Wild West. And I was so taken with that song. And a couple weeks later, I played at another hoot night, and this very clean shaven, nice looking fella comes up to me and says, I've been watching you play. I kind of like what you're doing. Why don't you join us at my house for some songs and stuff? And I thought, well, that's awful nice. He said, I wonder if you noticed anybody you like in this scene. I said, yeah, I saw a guy 2 weeks ago. Man, he and his brother, and he did this. He was as good as Bob Dylan. Suddenly his eyes kind of sparkled a little bit. As good as Bob Dylan, you say? Yeah. And what did he do? Well, he did this song about this and that and a tree and so forth. And he said, oh, well, tell me more. He kept like, I was talking about him. He knew that, but I didn't. And so, so he kept saying, as good as Bob Dylan, you say. And so anyway, I thought it'd be nice to do. By the way, this is Tree of Rhyme. When Jack came to New York, he planted 2 trees, which I consider him and his brother Jeff, and they're at the little park corner of 6th Avenue and Houston Street. They're doing well. I go by there and pat them a little bit every now and again. Tree of Rhyme by Jack Hardy. I took a tree into the town to see if it would grow, not knowing I was affixed to the fate of the seed I'd sown. My roots are solid underground, fed by the warm spring rain, where thunder's fierce and fickle winds find compromise insane. I seek refuge in this tree of rhyme, into its arms I climb, frightened by the terror of the sight. There will be a peace with the wind and rain, roundness of the earth and flame. This tree is more constant than I. This tree is more constant than I. My tree has flourished the same as I, though invisible at times. Beneath the rubble of vacant eyes, the seed divides and climbs, as if part of a forgotten age, when business was a vice and virtue was merely picking fruit in some patient paradise. I seek a refuge in this tree of rhyme, into its arms I climb, frightened by the terror of the sight. There will be peace with the wind and rain, the roundness of the earth and flame. This tree is more constant than I. This tree is more constant than I. I pity those without a tree, as birth has doomed no one. For bricks are merely mud and straw, canals are just rivers one. For nature schemes in cracks and themes, waiting for a time to bloom, even down in that soot gray town in some forgotten room. I seek refuge in this tree of rhyme, into its arms I climb, frightened by the terror of the sight. There will be peace with the wind and rain, roundness of the earth and flame. This tree is more constant than I. This tree is more constant than I.
Thank you, David.
Jack, the thing is, he always, he wasn't scared to give you an opinion about your songs. And sometimes they were exactly what you needed to hear. And other times you had to learn to just let it pass by. Thank you, Jack. I'll try my best. I remember I did this song, Fairfax County. We were doing this new song thing at Cornelia Street. And, Jack goes, it's brand new for me, and I thought it was a folk song. It sounded old. And Jack says, you know, it needs more poetry. It's not poetic enough, you know. So I said, oh, okay. So I took him real serious. So I went home and I put a lot of these and thous in it. And I came back and added a new song, a new verse. And I did it. And Terry Roach happened to be there, bless her heart, because when I finished it, she said, you know, I like the version you did last week better. And I said to myself, I knew I was right, but I had added a new verse and it had no these and thous in it, and the new verse was pretty good. Like, hounds rushing to slaughter the fox whose luck is run. So I do thank Jack for adding a new verse to that song, and I thank Terry Roach especially for making me go back to my original version of the way it was. I'm not going to do the song. I just thought that was a good story about how you handled Jack and how he handled you. He wasn't afraid. He sort of took the scene by its nape of its neck and just sort of rushed it along all through those years. You couldn't stop him. Irrepressible. This is a song when that big thing came that everybody stayed indoors. I kept singing things to myself. That's an old song. I wonder what song that is. And these are my last two songs. This one's short. Is a song from a song called We Will Be Together. This song is called A Valentine for Her Highness. Both songs are a tribute to Lacey Tribble, who's here, and we'll introduce her at the end of the set. This is called A Valentine for Her Highness. While flying to a rendezvous through thick and thin and peekaboo, Her Highness dipped among the clouds, a spectacle, enormous crowds, enormous crowds. A tribe of long lost gondoliers invited her to their frontiers. You know she always did her best, and so she came at their request, at their request. One of their own had fallen far. He lost his old beat-up guitar. Would she be kind enough to look if he was hiding in a book, in a good book? Her Highness was so very bright that he could finally see the light. That's when he won her with this line: please will you be my Valentine, my Valentine. I'm gonna do another song. I wrote this one for Lisi. I just got on a kick with this particular song, and I was gonna do 5 verses, and I ended up doing 7. And I took it into Jack's, the new song night, to Jack's place, and I don't know if it was Jack or somebody, but they said, this song is 2 verses too long, and I didn't get mad, although that experience, going to those nights, people could get really ticked off. And I did on a number of occasions, and I would like storm off and come back maybe 2 months later. Nobody'd say a word. They'd say, I was back. But on this particular occasion, I thought to myself, it might be two verses too long. And I said, that's okay. Which 2 verses should I cut? And you know what? Nobody could agree on a verse. Nobody could even figure out one of the verses they could cut. So I said, okay, I'm going to record it the way it is, and then maybe some genius or somebody that actually wants to hear it on the radio will figure out which 2 verses to cut, and I'll leave it up to them. So I'm going to do the original full thing. It's called "We Will Be Together." We will be together when the hands of time stand still. We will be together to go tilting at windmills. And when Don Quixote calls compadres to his side, we will be together for the ride. We will be together at the dawning of the day. We will be together when we are old and gray. And when we go dreaming to join up with Peter Pan, we will be together on the lam. They say we are outlaws, that our love is not the norm, that to the social order we are a thunderstorm. Somewhere in the future, when the past is overthrown, we will be together with a bone. We will be together in the dark night of the soul. We will be together chasing down a rabbit hole. Yes, and when we go to rescue Alice through the looking glass, we will be together holding fast. We will be together, always trying to do good. We will be together, playing tricks with Robin Hood. And when we're outnumbered and surrounded by our foes, we will be together with a rose. Sometimes I wonder, is there everlasting life? For I have seen the meekest lamb survive the sharpest knife. It was my good fortune to be shot by Cupid's dart. We will be together, heart to heart. We will be together when the mighty nations fall. We will be together to hear the white doves call. And when we are playing down on old MacDonald's farm, we will be together, safe from harm. For we will be together, arm in arm.
Great set, David.
I wanted to say something about also when I did that record, I had asked Maggie Roach if she would sing some harmonies on some of the song. And gosh, when I go back and I occasionally I'll listen, I wonder what it sounds like today. And I'll hear that. And one of my favorite things is picking out Maggie's voice because she had such a nice harmony voice. And the thing about it, I figured out why the Roaches were so magic. It's because their harmonies were like melodies for the regular, instead of being harmonies, they were melodies. So Maggie had that, she had that genius, and I was lucky to know her.
Hey, David, before you go away, hold up the instrument you're playing. None of us have been able to see it.
I used to, I should have done this. Edsel Martin Dulcimer. It's a long one, isn't it? Yes. Beautiful sounding Edsel Martin Dulcimer. He used to do carvings of heads of a hound dog or a bird or an eagle. Or this is a woman singing. She could be yawning. Bill Morrissey told me if she heard me sing, she might be yawning. So,
it's great to have friends, isn't it?
It is so special. Anyway, I look forward to the rest of the show, and thank you for having me.
David, are you playing anywhere upcoming? Got any dates to mention?
No, I don't.
No?
I wish I did. I keep trying to figure out how to do this, but I'm back of the queue. I'd like to start playing again. I played actually just before I went to England in April, late May. I played a gig up in Boston, and so maybe they'll have me do something. And then somebody from South Carolina just wrote me, and they want me to come down there and do something, so I'll do that. By the way, I wanted to, I was in England helping Lisi because she had a hip replacement. I wanted to bring her in here and show you she's doing real well. Lisi, why don't you come in and say she was the
I don't know
hey,
where
baby.
to get. Hey,
Hey, honey.
hey, Davey.
Hips. There she is. There she is.
Hey, Lisi, how's it going there?
It's going good.
And she
Lily
walks,
and Nell got me through it.
she walks real well now.
Lily and Nell
She's doing
got me
good.
through my
Yeah.
operation.
Yes.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
she's been inspiration for many, many songs for me.
So I'm okay now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, you know, I hope we'll see you guys out on the road sometime soon.
I want to get there. Yeah. If you got a gig you need an opener, I'm ready to go.
Well, people need to hear you. Keep writing those good songs, and we'll get back. It was,
I've not
you know, I
stopped.
wanted to tell you it was beautiful here in Tree of Rhyme. What an incredible song that is, isn't it? Just so good.
Yeah. I messed up all 3 songs tonight, so that's a consistency I seem to have. Yes.
Well, you know, none of us can tell, so don't get too worried.
Trademark.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to move on here. Our next performer is someone actually I had the opportunity to see in concert this summer at the Jalopy Theater in Brooklyn. Real cool little venue, and it was a great concert on her part. I loved her set. She is a founding member of the Harmony Trio Red Molly, spent 6 years on the road with them, and after that became a longtime host of the Christopher Street Coffee House in the Village, which had a regular open mic series for quite a long time. She has since mentioned that she's a regular at the Monday Night Songwriter Exchange, loosely known as the Spaghetti Dinner, I believe, and has made 5 solo CDs in addition to her work with Red Molly, the most recent of which is called Shiver. And I also want to say I have great respect for this artist because I kind of learned that in the process of organizing her own music, she studied Appalachian and American folk music and began incorporating it into her writing in a very creative way. So I would like to say, let's give a big Greenwich Village Folk Festival welcome to Carol Ann Solabello.
Hey, you guys. Hey. Thank you, Rod. It was my pleasure to hang out with Rod this summer when he mentioned the show at Jalopy. What he didn't mention was the other half of that show was himself, and it was such a pleasure to be able to, like, hey, I got to see a Rod McDonald concert for free because I was doing the other half of the show. It was great. We got to sing a little together. We had a grand time. So thank you for that. And what a great night. What a beautiful thing it is that for all of us to be together celebrating Jack. I'd like to start with one of his that's a seasonal song. Or is it? It's called Autumn. Autumn was a fatal time. Autumn was a friend of mine. Autumn was my last hope to hold out till Christmas time. Autumn with her bright red hair, autumn with her icy stare, turned her back on the evening news in a way that said she didn't care. Take the Greyhound, take it out of town, take it down a highway where you might have turned around. Dig your fingernails into the Naugahyde. Let the countryside slide into another time, another town, another season. Autumn lit a cigarette, said it's not the time to quit. Ashes on the bed sheets, the remote control, the TV set. Autumn licked the envelope, said it was our only hope. The dim light slowly fading down to the glow of a Marlboro. Take the Greyhound, take it out of town, take it down a highway where you might have turned around. Dig your fingernails into the Naugahyde. Let the countryside slide into another time, another town, another season. Oh, white sheet, covering all but the feet. Static on the radio, the ice bucket in the road. Here's to what I thought was best. Here's to your last request. Here's to how creation evolved into a holy mess. Take the Greyhound, take it out of town. Take it down the highway where you might have turned around. Dig your fingernails into the Naugahyde. Let the countryside slide into another time, another town, another season, another place, another reason to love autumn.
Thank you very much. I used to play that song a lot. I've been in love with that song for a very long time. I used to play it a lot, and I just started playing it again. And I think it's going to start squeezing itself into the set for many reasons, not the least of which is it makes me think about Jack when I sing it. So that makes me glad. Just watching Jack. See, I was not a friend of Jack's like a lot of you guys, where I came to the party a little bit late, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But I learned a lot from Jack by watching. I was more often than not the person in the audience, the kid at the bar stool watching him play, and or sitting in the back of the house learning things from Jack. Here's a stupid thing that I learned from Jack that probably all of you would think is self-evident. I didn't know that you could put a major chord and a minor chord right next to each other in a song until I watched Jack play an A major and an A minor right next to each other. Now, that probably is self-evident to a lot of you fine songwriters, but it wasn't to me, and so then I promptly did it myself later. Anyway, this is another of Jack's that I have always admired. It's called Poor Man. Laying down on a bed of straw, laying down in a farmer's trough, laying down in a mystery, an adoration of the Magi. Who could find a reason to question his mean estate or protest his treason to alter what decreed his fate? Jesus was a poor man. I am a poor man too. Ain't no end of telling what a poor man might do. Harder for a camel through the eye of a needle, harder still for a rich man to enter into heaven. Jesus was a poor man. I am a poor man too. Ain't no end of telling what a poor man might do. Jesus was a carpenter. I'd like to think he built this house, quiet as surrender, quiet as the church mouse. Jesus was a poor man. I am a poor man too. Ain't no end of telling what a poor man might do. Might build some houses, might share his blanket's warmth, might still some lingering doubt with his strength against the storm. Jesus was a poor man.
treasure. Where your anger is stored, there you'll also lie your treasure. Lay it down in a bed of straw. Lay it down in a farmer's trough. Lay it down in mystery and adoration of the Magi.
Yeah.
There was always something mysterious about Jack's songs. There was always something unknowable, unfathomable, untouchable in the song, and that's one of the things that I've always admired about Jack's songs. Now here's the story. Here's the little bit that yes, I have been a regular at the Jack Hardy Songwriters Exchange since 2011. But I didn't start coming until Jack had already passed. I met Jack before. I knew about the exchange, but I was too darn chicken to go. And the reason I started going was because my last encounter with Jack was at the Woody Guthrie Folk Festival, which Radislav talked about earlier. I think Radislav was there that year too. In 2010, I was there with Red Molly, and Jack found out that I was leaving Red Molly that year, and he asked me, why the hell are you leaving the band? And I explained my reasons, and he didn't find that quite satisfactory, but he said, well, if you're going to be home, at least come to the exchange. I'm going to stop doing my Jack voice, but he invited me to the exchange, as he did with so many other people through the years. And I said, yeah, I'll go. And the following March, Jack was gone from us. So to fulfill my promise that, yes, Jack, I will go, I will come to the exchange, I started going that spring. And there were so many things now that I would like to thank him for, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So I made him a song. I have no idea whether or not he would like it, except perhaps it has no bridge. So I think Jack might have been pleased with the fact that this song has no bridge. But this is for Jack. Angela Page, if you're listening, I played this at the garden concert we did in this summer, or in the last month, I should say. And Angela had a couple of suggestions for me, and I tried to incorporate those suggestions into the song. It's not quite done yet. I don't know what it's called, but it's just for Jack. It occurred to me this morning that I never got to thank you for a conversation casual as air. In midsummer, Oklahoma gathered kindred to their prayer. I watched you tend the faithful flock who congregated there, drinking up the songs that each would share. In between the music, we were thirsty for your time, so you bought us beer and sat down in the shade. I told you I'd be leaving, and I guess I looked dismayed. You seemed to understand that all my edges had been frayed, so you shepherded this lamb before she strayed. You said, come on by anytime. Bring a song, bring your ears, bring some wine. Break some bread, break some rules. Break down and refine the melody and the rhythm and the rhyme. The door is open, you are welcome anytime. So as I wandered disaffected through the streets of New York City, your words came back to me in polychrome. I showed up on Houston Street, uncertain and unknown. The kindred who had gathered said your spirit now had flown, but that open door meant I was not alone. They said, come on by anytime. Bring a song,
bring your ears, bring some wine, break some bread, break some rules, break down and refine the melody and the rhythm and the rhyme. The door is open, you are welcome anytime. Perhaps we'll meet again somewhere out in that great unknown, over pasta and a gorgeous Cabernet. Thank you for guiding me when I had lost my way. Thank you for the kindred and a sacred place to play. Pretty sure I know what you would say. Come on by anytime. Bring a song, bring your ears, bring some wine, break some bread, break some rules, break down and refine the melody and the rhythm and the rhyme. The door is open, you are welcome anytime. 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 Thanks for listening, you guys.
Caroline Solabella. Hey, Caroline, you're still going to the Monday night songwriter get-togethers?
I go every now and then. It's still on Zoom. We're starting to bring it back slowly to in person. There's a fella downtown who has volunteered his apartment. I haven't been yet to his house, but soon.
So how do you eat spaghetti over Zoom?
I know it's very well. I just made it right now. I have a tendency to make spaghetti on nights when we do this. So
Jack's homemade spaghetti was a big part of the attraction of going to those things.
Right, and the peppers, the hot peppers. We continued to do that for a long time after Jack had gone. We continued to make the hot peppers and burn everybody's eyes out.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear you. Thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, you guys.
Our next performer is a very busy person who, in fact, just arrived from an earlier show somewhere. I guess you'll tell us where it was. I don't actually know, and we'll get to it in a second. But not surprising that she's a very busy person. Lisa Gutkin started out, well, I'm sure she didn't start out, but we first got to know her at the Speakeasy in New York City, playing in bands with people like myself, Bakuma, and joined the Fast Folk orchestra for the shows at the Bottom Line in the late 80s and early 90s. Toured Europe a couple times with Jack and with me also, and has gone on to become a Grammy-winning member of the klezmer group, the Klezmatics, in a role in which she has composed music to Woody Guthrie lyrics for a recording of the Klezmatics that was released. She is also the composer of the music for the Broadway show Indecent, which I think also was nominated or won a Grammy for its music at some point there. She may correct me on some of these things. She's also made a CD of her own songs in the last couple of years. I got to hear a couple songs of it recently. It was real fun. And it's called From Here On In. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Lisa Gutkin.
Thank you. Thanks, Rod. It's so good to see everybody.
So, Lisa, where were you earlier tonight?
I was at a fundraiser for something called Natan Worldwide Disaster Relief. And it's a small Doctors Without Borders type of organization that is out of Israel, and it's all different people are involved. There's Muslims, there's Jews, there's Christians, there's everybody is involved. It's not governmental, and they just go everywhere and take care of people, and it's really, really beautiful organization. So I was thrilled to do a fundraiser for them.
Well, you know, it's in this era of such hyper-partisan stuff going on with the election. It's good to know there are groups like that really doing work across all these boundaries. Well, let me get out of your way and let you make some music for us.
Yeah, I will correct you. The play that I wrote the music for won 2 Tonys, but we didn't get a nomination for a Grammy, and we didn't get a Tony for the music because it wasn't technically a musical. Darn! But the music was a big part of it, and it was a really, really beautiful show, and I can't believe I got to do some of the things that I've gotten to do over life. But one of the things that I've gotten to do over life is play with amazing songwriters like you and Jack and everybody else that I backed on the fiddle. And, of course, everybody's like, oh, fiddle's such a great instrument, but what do I want to do? I want to be a guitar player. I want to be a guitar and singer-songwriter like the rest of you. So, but every time I tried to play the guitar, I just messed up. So Mark Dan finally said, well, why don't you play the tenor guitar? I was like, what is a tenor guitar? Well, it's a 4-string guitar that's tuned like a violin. Ha ha! Subversive as it may be. So I'm playing a tenor guitar that I got from Mark Dan many years ago. And I'm going to sing one of Jack's songs that I recorded with him many years ago in the apartment. It's called Forget-Me-Nots. And though you say that you'll be mine, I hear another voice in time, and that voice plays a bitter song, says I will stay, but I won't stay long. Who's to say who's true and who is not, with eyes as blue as forget-me-nots? When first I held you to my breast, I would believe that east was west. I would believe that right was wrong. When first I heard your silken song, I would believe that false was true and cold was hot, with eyes as blue as forget-me-nots. And though you stayed till lilacs bloomed within the waning April moon, and though you stayed till summer's end, there was no way to stay as friends. Who's to say this love was misbegot, with eyes as blue as forget-me-nots? And in the still light of the morn, you come to me in dreams forlorn. You come to me upon the wind, saying those who stay are born to sin. This I knew was true, yet soon forgot, with eyes as blue as forget-me-nots, with eyes as blue, so blue. so blue. Forget me nots.
My favorite.
So, I have I've written songs with a couple of people, including Woody Guthrie, which is what we got the Grammy for in the Klezmatics. But I think I'm going to play. Because I think Jack would have really liked this song. It's a song I wrote with a songwriter, a poet named Maggie Dubree. We've written a few songs together. And yeah, it's called Manhattan Was a Tangle. Sorry, wrong key. When I arrived, I was a mourning dove. Wild Manhattan was a tangle of hackberry, elderberry, cherry, and leek, carried in the dry milkweed. Milkweed blowing like snow. Blow, blow, was a glacier here long ago. Windy wind, who would know? Chestnuts fallen here long ago. Brown doves calling here long ago. A voice said, cry, cry, where shall I cry? Cry down by the waterside. A voice said, cry, cry, where shall I cry? Cry down by the waters wild. When the tables turn, where shall I go? Ride down to the rushes' glow. When the night clouds burn, where shall I go? Fly down to the lowlands low. Broken nests and broken bones, cracking sidewalks neath traffic cones. Windy wind, who would know? Chestnuts fallen here long ago. Brown doves calling here long ago. The river steams in this heat wave heat. The big girls shimmy on Houston Street. Watch me, daddy, watch me, daddy, watch me fly. Who was I? Who was I when I arrived? A voice said, cry, cry, where shall I cry? Cry Right down by the riverside, a voice said, cry, cry, where shall I cry? Cry down by, cry down by, cry down by the waters wild. So, well, this has been wonderful. I'm sorry I got to miss so many great people. Is this available to watch later? Oh, that's it.
It's online. There will
good.
be ways to view it, so it'll be in the
Good.
archives at
Great. So I get
GreenwichVillageFolkFestival.org.
to see everybody who I missed earlier, and that's good for me, for us to tell the audience too. See, it's archived. You see, we all learned something new. I bet you already knew that, but okay. So I have one more for you, and this one is a song that I wrote the lyrics to and the music, and I just feel like I don't know about all of you, but it's just so amazing to be amongst friends. And so, like, I'm just celebrating friends, and that's what this song is all about. It's called "Song for All of You" or "Nothing Like a Friend," and it's in this key. I wrote a song for him. I didn't have to think it through. I just let the words come out till they were done. And I tried to change them some. I always change them some. I moved around the verses. I put a rhyme or two to work. If he heard it in his sleep, I never knew. Just gave me something good to do. Was something I could do. So I wrote a tune for me. Was trying to let my mind be free. And laughter filled my thoughts for a while. Yeah, he could make me smile. He could make you smile. Let's go for a walk and we can talk, or just look at the stars. We can watch TV or read a book, do laundry, maybe cook. Let's go to the river and we can fish or sit under a tree. 'Cause in the end, there's nothing like a friend. But this song's for all of you, for all that we've been through. 'Cause without your love I don't know what I'd do. I'd sit around and I'd be blue. I'd sit around just being blue. Los amigos, mes amis, mo cara camarade. There's so many words to use to thank a friend. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Merci beaucoup, mes amis. Let's go for a walk and we can talk, or just look at the stars. We can watch TV or read a book, do laundry, maybe cook. Let's go to the river and we can fish or sit under a tree. 'Cause in the end, there's nothing like a friend. Thank you.
Gutkin. Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's so good to see you performing solo. Earlier this year I saw you performing with Reggie Harris. I know you've been did a little tour with Tommy Sands, and I think you've got some shows coming up in December with the Klezmatics. So you've been keeping quite busy.
Yeah, never feels busy enough, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could be with us tonight.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
so
you.
much.
So good to see everybody. It's been lovely. Thanks.
We'll see you again real soon. Thank you, Lisa Gutkin. Well, this has been quite an evening. We have one more performer to go, but before we bring him on, I just want to remind everybody that we do have a tip jar. And again, I want to thank everyone who's donated tonight. You're the folks that are keeping this going month after month. We're here the very first Sunday of each month, bringing you some of the finest artists, not just in Greenwich Village, but across the country and in fact across the globe. We've had a number of performers from England and Ireland and elsewhere. And we're going to keep going as long as you keep supporting it and keep tuning in every month. So if you'd like some information, you can check the chat column either in YouTube or Facebook, or just go to our website, greenwichvillagefolkfestival.org. And we greatly appreciate your help if you can afford to. I know there's a lot of people are asking for donations, especially this time of year, but a couple bucks thrown our way really goes a long way. So help support all of these wonderful artists that you're seeing. Well, I think our final performer of the evening really follows in the spirit of Jack Hardy. Like Jack, Scott Cook is a wordsmith whose observations are encapsulated with just the right words, speaking volumes in just a few lines of verse. He's also authored compelling books to accompany his albums, such as his recent collection, Tangle of Souls, which features Scott's introspective views of his travels and the world that we all share. Now, he was born here in the States, spent some time teaching kindergarten in Taiwan. He calls Alberta, Canada home, but he's really a citizen of the world. I mean, he's touring constantly across Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. This year alone, he's toured in 35 states and 7 provinces. And tonight, he's actually in Michigan, and he's just 3 gigs away from going home. Well, I'd also advise you all to check out Scott's YouTube page, which in addition to some great videos of his music, you can also find the Rodetta Roadshow live stream shows that Scott hosts with Pamela May, and they feature some really outstanding guest artists that they've met in their travels. It's great to have him with us tonight. Please welcome Scott Cook.
Thanks so much, Ron. Wow, good to see your face, man.
It's good to see you too. I missed you when you were in New Jersey. You got to come back again soon. You probably will with your touring.
Okay, we will. We had a good time in New Jersey. Yeah.
Teaneck.
Yeah. Played Ethical Brew in Teaneck. What a wonderful group of folks there. Yeah. And speaking of a wonderful group of folks, we're right here at Lamb's Retreat. This is like the retreat. The first weekend of the retreat wrapped up today, and they'll be doing another weekend. But yeah, they're just swapping songs, very low key tonight. I was over there for a little bit, and Jack's name came up out of the blue, as it often does in places where songwriters gather. So. We got a Jack Hardy song, but we're going to play it last because it's a farewell song. This is what I wrote. This guitar came from a timber, from the body of a tree, through the workshop of a luthier. Now it's on loan to me. And it's good company after dinner, and it fits my hands just fine. But someday another singer with a pair of hands like mine will coax out songs much prettier still hiding in its strings, and sing stronger, braver words than I could ever sing. And folks are gonna love it, of this I'm almost sure, so I'll take good care of it, 'cause I'm borrowing it from her. Pass it along, pass it along. May it land in careful hands when we're gone. You carry it for a moment, but time won't loan it to you for long. You don't own it, pass it along. And I still love my country. Sometimes it's hard to recognize it, but I count myself lucky to have been born inside it. And I'm grateful for the rights others struggled hard to win. You can be sure I'm gonna fight when they try and take 'em back again. Oh, and everywhere are teachers, though some fell along the way. The words they said still reach us, just like you're teaching me here today. And it might not be out loud, but it's clear in what you do. And I hope to make you proud, 'cause I borrowed it from you. Pass it along, pass it along. May it land in careful hands when we're gone. You carry it for a moment, but time won't loan it to you for long. You don't own it, pass it along. Seems these days we're in a hurry to grab up all that's left to use, putting patents on discovery, making seeds that don't reproduce. If our vision is so narrow, seeing only bought and sold, we'll end up like the pharaohs, buried with their gold. We've all pushed this thing along, we've all been guided by our fear. But the river sings a song we've gotta be quieter to hear. It's in every child's face, new and hopeful as a stem. Best be gentle with this place, 'cause we're borrowing it from them. Pass it along, pass it along. May it land in careful hands when we're gone. You carry it for a moment, but time won't loan it to you for long. You don't own it, pass it along, pass it along, pass it along. May it land in careful hands when we're gone. You carry it for a moment, but time won't loan it to you for long. You don't own it, pass it along. Well, thank you, friends. These are the best kind of online shows, the ones where we actually get to hear applause. I dig that. Yeah, as Ron mentioned, we have been doing online shows. We've been doing solar powered live streams from the back of our camper van this year. But yeah, we are in the Birchwood Inn in Harbor Springs, Michigan right now, and we're hoping the internet's good and you can hear everything all right. Well, great. Okay, we're getting a thumbs up. Sweet. We'll play you one off the new record that Ron mentioned. It's called Tangle of Souls. It also it looks suspiciously like a Gideon Bible that you might find in a hotel room, but these are the liner notes for the book, for the album, 240 pages of them. And yeah, we've just been trying to trying to get it into people's hands this year, face to face, which is a great pleasure, both for personal reasons and for postal reasons, as you can see. But this is a song off that record. It's one I wrote thinking about my family. I love this country. I love the people and the land. But there's a lot of stuff happening that I can't understand. We got billions for bailouts. We got trillions for wars. But it's hard for working people to make a living anymore. Hear me out for a second. This ain't a partisan song. It ain't about right and left. It's about right and wrong. We're fighting over the scraps, while a few are living like kings. 'Cause screwing us over's a bipartisan thing. And it's working people who made this country great, not the greedy opportunists or the peddlers of hate. And if a new day's coming, it's gotta come from you and me. Oh, say, can you see? See, I got a neighbor, we don't always agree. He's a bit of a redneck, according to a hippie like me. But if you're in the ditch, he'll pull you out, I know he will. And that's more than I can say for all those dickheads on the hill. He works hard for his family. He's got loyalty and pride. The company took all he gave and then cast him aside. 'Cause there's profit in poverty. Hell, there's profit in prisons. And they don't even pay taxes. They just buy politicians. But it's working people who made this country great, not the greedy opportunists or the peddlers of hate. And if a new day's coming, it's gotta come from you and me. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? And in New York Harbor, there's a lady with a flame, still calling in the huddled masses in liberty's name. But there's fear on the airwaves and hatred wrapped in the flag, turning strangers into enemies and our riches into rags. And a revolution to break the grip of greed don't need a strong man or a savior, but I believe we're gonna need whatever magic this old world's got left to start, and all the ammunition in the chambers of our hearts. It's working people who made this country great, not the greedy opportunists or the peddlers of hate. And if a new day's coming, it's gotta come from you and me. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? Well, thank you, friends. We'll play you a Jack Hardy song to close out here. I never had the pleasure of meeting Jack, but I've been thinking a lot lately just about how lives leave ripples, and he certainly did his share of that. I spent a lot of time down at the Kerrville Folk Festival, and Camp Coho still he still haunts it, I guess. They've even got T-shirts there at Camp Coho that say "Shut up and sing the damn song." Yeah, it was a great pleasure to just dig into some of Jack's work as a result of being asked to do this show. So thank you for the invitation. And yeah, this is one of Jack's from the Bandolier record. It's called Singer's Lament. long, so long, gonna say goodbye. Bird winging along in a old blue sky. In the crack of the dawn, I'll slip on by. No need to wake no one. No one will cry. All the leaves have gone since I last was here. Don't sing the same songs as we did last year. Got a big new car and a TV screen. No need to shorten the dark with the likes of me. But I might shorten the road with a story or two. What the frost might show if you dig right through. Something buried inside. It's your own sweet song in the blink of an eye. So long, so long. So long, gonna say goodbye. Bird winging along in a old blue sky. In the crack of the dawn, I'll slip on by. Don't need to wake no one. No one will cry.
Scott, that's a beautiful tribute to Jack. Listen, you know, as you're our last artist tonight, do you think we could ask you to play one more song for us? I know we didn't tell you in advance. Sorry about that.
Sure
Usually we do.
Could. Sure
okay.
we could.
Go for it.
Oh. Well, I mean, there's no way we're going to out finale that finale.
No.
So
What would Jack like?
Why don't we shift gears and play a quick one? How about Enough?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been writing songs for Patreon this past year and a half or so, and yeah, this
Quick
is,
one as in tempo.
yeah, and time,
Yeah.
and time, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how to get them like 2 minutes, you know. This one's about 3. I'm working on it. Thanks for asking, Ron. My grandpa and grandma came up from Alabama for a GM job in Pontiac. Bought an itty-bitty house on a skinny city lot and dug a big old garden out back. Grew most everything they needed and saved all the seeds and dried whatever they couldn't can. And grandma sold nearly all their clothes out of stuff from the Sally Ann. Never bought it new if they could find it used or scavenge it for free. And whatever they had left over, they'd give to folks in need. Grandma made money baking fancy cakes for people on the other side of town. Grandpa bought an old car and an older one for parts and fixed it every time it broke down. And lard was their all-purpose seasoning for the gravy and the biscuits, grits and okra and turnip greens. Only work they knew was hard, only times they knew were tough. They never had a lot, they always had enough. Well, the years went by, my grandfolks died, and so much of what they knew got lost. And everything now seems built to break down, and fixing it's twice the cost. And if you got a new car, you won't get far trying to be a troubleshooter. Just take a trip to the dealership and hook it up to a computer. Whose dreams are these anyway? Are we consumers or consumed? Why do we decorate our houses to look like hotel rooms? Hard as I try, I can't figure why folks admire obscene extravagance like Musk and Bezos, Trump and Gates, Kanye and the Kardashians. It's all about the game, according to the winners. And they got everything you want in warehouses called fulfillment centers. It's like there's some kind of hole we're trying to fill with all this stuff. We We always have a lot, but we never have enough. I heard about a man in a faraway land who made respectable folks aghast, steadily gathering an entourage of fishermen, prostitutes, and outcasts. Near as they could figure it, he was illegitimate. They say he was born in a stable. They say he made wine out of water one time and knocked over some bankers' tables. But it was like daring the authorities and clergy to do their worst when he said the first would be last and the last would be first. Don't give like the hypocrites and make a big show of it while they're always gathering more. And if you want to see heaven, sell your possessions, give what you got to the poor. And if you try to save your life, you surely lose it. Said the kingdom is inside you if you choose it. He and a dozen good buddies wandering around sleeping rough. They never had a lot, they always had enough. They never had a lot, they always had enough.
Thanks, Scott. That was great. Very, very good of you to do that for us. You know, Jack, in addition to writing serious songs, is often a very fun guy. So I think he would have approved of that last song.
Thanks, man.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show, and got some thanks to say. It's been a beautiful concert, and you know, I was sitting here thinking that I suspect that I saw more Jack Hardy shows than any other single artist. We not only played a lot of the same clubs around New York, but we were on the same record label for 20 years in Switzerland and did a lot of concerts in Europe together. And tonight, hearing those songs, it's just so a wonderful experience. And I hope you folks at home appreciate the craft and artistry and self-examination and soulfulness that went into the writing of those songs and these beautiful performances by these artists tonight. In reverse order, you've been watching Scott Cook. We just saw Caroline Solabello, David Massengill, Terry Roche, Radoslav Lorkovic, Abby Gardner, Hugh Blumenfeld, Lisa Gutkin, well, not exactly in order, Paul Sachs, Tina Ross, Hugh O'D, Miranda Hardy, and all the way back at the beginning, Mr. Bill Walach. Almost all of these performers, yes, indeed. Almost all these performers have websites and recordings out and are appearing somewhere, perhaps in your neck of the woods. So please do keep up, check on them, pick your favorites, go see them, support your favorite artists, and don't let the music fade away on you. Also, if you can spare a donation on behalf to the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, somewhere on wherever you're watching this show, there's a link to do so. Off the top of my head, I know that paypal.me/GVFF2020 will work. There are a couple others as well on the Greenwich Village Folk Festival.org page and on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to thank some people. Of course, Ray Misek, our co-producer. Ron Olesko, my co-MC tonight. Ron, how you doing there?
I'm doing great. You know, I feel like I've been transported back to Houston Street. And oh, in fact, look behind me. I want to thank Angela Page. She sent me some photos, and my green screen isn't the best, but there's Jack sitting there. And Rod, I've got another one here, which you just might recognize. Is that a young Jack Hardy over here? I mean, of Rod McDonald, huh?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Who's that? I can't see who's. Okay, that's Jack and Maggie.
Yeah, wait, let me go back. This, I can't really see who they all are, but maybe you can, kind of in the way that somebody's back to me.
I can't. Well, that's Doug Waterman, I believe. I don't know who the other.
Yeah, that might be Jack in the back.
That might be Jack actually in the back himself. Yeah.
And then there was this one. There's Jack and Maggie Roach.
Yeah.
And back to this one, which is Jack, and maybe you could tell me who they are.
That looks like Jeff Berman sitting in the chair. And probably maybe Frank Christian. That might be a rehearsal for a European tour. I believe those guys went on tour to Europe together.
And then there's this one. There's Jack writing a song at his desk in his apartment on Houston Street. So I want to thank Angela Page for sending me this today. I apologize, my green screen isn't the best, but you know, really this whole night made me feel like we're back at Houston Street or at Speakeasy, and you know, doing my radio shows. What Jack started and what you started and everybody here created is still going strong and still influencing so many new artists. So it's great to see, as Jack would say, shut up and sing the song, keep writing, and that's all we need.
It's been a beautiful concert. I salute everybody tonight. It was really fine music. Next month, the Greenwich Village Folk Festival on, what is it, December 2nd? I don't even know the date, but it's the first Sunday of the month, whatever it is. We've got a pretty cool lineup. Joe Crookston, James Keelahan, Professor Louie, Dan Navarro, Malcolm Holcomb making his debut with us. Shauna in a Dress, Robin Bateau returns. Natalia Zuckerman, how about that one, Lisa Gutkin? Natalia Zuckerman, the daughter of Pinky Zuckerman, the renowned classical violinist. Natalia, a singer-songwriter, will be with us. Walt Michael, one of our foremost traditional musicians, considered one of the great Appalachian dulcimer players. The dulcimer played with sticks, is going to be with us, and I believe is going to play some holiday music. And Josh White Jr., I believe, is going to be with us. So it's going to be quite a show. And Ron, you'll be sharing the emceeing duties with Wanda Fisher from, is it River City Folk up in Albany? Is that the name of the program?
No,
she's been on the air for about 40 years now.
Hudson River Sampler is the name of
Hudson River Sampler, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And Wanda will be with us, which will really be fun. A wonderful radio host up there in Albany. So you folks, I hope you'll tune in December and spread the word. This concert will be archived on YouTube, Facebook, and the Greenwich Village Folk Festival.org website. It will probably be about 24 hours before it will be there in comprehensible form. Hopefully at that time we'll also add all of the songwriters' titles and publishing information to go with it. And that's about it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful concert, and I feel very honored to have the opportunity to present this music to you folks out there. Ron, good night to you too.
Good night to you, Rod. It's been a pleasure being with you, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, we're going to cut the stream and get out the deli platter, the virtual deli platter backstage. So, good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Ron.